What is up, everybody? I'm your host, Sean Vochisano, and today I want to talk about something a lot of hockey players and families argue about, and no one really talks about properly, and that is D3 hockey actually worth it? Now, when most people hear D3, their reaction is usually the same. No scholarships, less exposure, no NHL, so like, what the heck is the point? But that's surface level take. Let's break it down, especially the exposure side, because that's where most people get it wrong. But let's talk about education first, because I think that's the part that mostly matters more than people admit. D3 hockey schools are really small. They're usually private colleges with good academics, I'd say, and I would just say when you're in a lecture hall with 300 kids, like a bigger university, and professors don't actually know who you are. That kind of matters. But for D3, you're in schools where there's only 200 people. Professors. I mean, high schools have more kids, and I think that really matters when you're trying to balance hockey, travel, and classes, because you get that more personal connection with classes and your professors. And the key part is if hockey ends, which it does for most players. Like just because you go D1 doesn't mean you're going to go to the NHL. You're going to walk out with a degree that's actually means something. And for D3, it's true that a lot of D3 players do end up mostly in business, finance, engineering, media, or coaching because that part is legit. I'd feel like academically, they might be screwed. Some schools are good academically, but not all of them. But let's get into what everyone's here. Everyone, you clicked on this video for the number one reason, that is exposure. The biggest myth in hockey is that exposure only exists in D1 or Major Junior, USHL. No, kind of already talked about that in my past videos. If you haven't seen them, go check them out. But that's not true anymore. D3 exposure works completely differently. You're not playing, you're not going to be playing in front of NHL scouts every weekend. But, you are going to play in leagues that are heavily watched by junior leagues, pro leagues, and even European leagues, which are pretty good. And there's something that a lot of people don't realize. A lot of D3 players do move up. A lot of years, every year, people go to D1. It happens very rarely. Yeah, it does happen, but very rarely. We see people in the ECHL, the SPHL, the FPHL, which the SPHL and FPHL aren't bad leagues. You're not making the best money. You're probably gonna have a side gig on that one, but still playing professional hockey for some money. Some like lower teams in like Europe, like I don't know, that might be Germany 3, Germany 4, maybe France, or just like another higher level junior league as like overraters. Like if you're definitely older, then maybe you might get 1 year in the USPHL Premier, the NCDC, which isn't too good, but it's still something. And I'd say that scouts don't even care where you play; they mostly care about if you can play. Like if you're on a like top D3 team, like in the video, we're seeing Utica and Curry. Those are like top one, top two. You're logging good minutes. You're on special teams. You're producing a lot of points. You're gonna get more attention. You're gonna get a lot of attention than a depth guy on a higher level roster. And I say ice time is probably exposure, and then responsibilities also there. And D3 it does give it to a lot of players, and I think networking is important too. D3 coaches have connections everywhere. D3 coaches have, I mean, not as much as D1, but they have connections. They talk to junior coaches, pro coaches, agents, other college programs all the time. If you're a good player and or a good teammate, your coach becomes your greatest promoter, right? And just because rosters are smaller and the environment is definitely like tighter, coaches will go to bat for you. I think they'll go to bat for their guys. So they'll talk to you. They'll talk to a coach for you goodly. And let's talk about the NHL. Let's be realistic here. Is D3 the best path to NHL? Absolutely not. It is one of the worst. I'm gonna be honest. If you have the dream as a kid, hey, I want to play in the FPHL, then yeah, D3 easier to make. But it's pretty bad for the NHL. Is it impossible? No. There have been players who've touched the NHL. O'Coin has definitely been up there, and I think one or two more. And after D3, it's rare, but hockey is definitely a late bloomer sport, especially defensemen. They definitely develop later, and goalies even more. Pro hockey just isn't in the NHL. I mean, there's definitely been D3 players who have played in the AHL, ECHL, Europe. They've gone into coaching, media, scouting, management. D3 definitely keeps doors open, even if that doesn't mean, oh, I'm not going to go play in the NHL. Because I say, yeah, 4 years to develop, 4 years to get stronger, 4 years to get smarter, build a good resume off and on the ice. And I'd say, when you're ready, you're definitely going to move up. So the conclusion is D3 worth it? If you want a full scholarship, probably not. But, if you want ice time, development, an okay education, and a path that definitely still leads to higher levels, D3 is actually kind of worth it, right? You don't gotta have the D1 stress. But the education is definitely a big factor. And honestly, for a lot of players, D3 is the smartest move they can make. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.